1800s poet. That is our inspiration, but a little bit dark, stormy, and moody. Hello and welcome to the Dress Up Closet. I'm so excited because we are going to kick off the fall dress up season today. We're going to dive into all of the fall trends and how I like to talk about them in fall characters. First, I want to introduce you to today's sponsor, which is Ana Luisa. I have loved and worn Ana Luisa jewelry for years now, and they are some of my absolute favorite pieces of jewelry that I own. Ana Luisa jewelry has some of the most amazing selection that are absolutely perfect to treat yourself or to gift to a friend. I feel like their selection is so broad and they have so many amazing pieces that your loved ones are going to love the pieces as much as you love them. And as someone who loves to layer, I love that all their pieces are stackable. You can really mix and match the pieces, wear the necklaces, wear multiples of the earrings. I love to layer and stack my Ana Luisa jewelry. And I have had some of the jewelry for years now. The quality is amazing and they're backed by a 2-year warranty, and all of their jewelry is such affordable, great prices. And with the 2 earrings that I selected this time around, I love that I can wear them together or separate, and they're always gonna make a statement. And you're gonna wanna grab them before they run out of stock because these are gonna be your everyday staples. So don't miss out. Go ahead and grab your Ana Luisa favorites and complete your stacking jewelry with pieces starting at just $39. You can find my link down in the video description below and get some of those Ana Luisa pieces to complete your stacks and do your layering, especially heading into fall. All right, we are going to now hop into my 4 fall characters that embody some of my favorite trends for fall. But I really like to think about dressing up each season with characters in mind. I've done this for years now, and I feel like it just makes getting dressed more fun. I feel like you can go into your closet and kind of take a character that you're thinking about, think about what they would wear, where they would be, and then build a look around that instead of trying to necessarily copy a specific trend or even what you see on the runway, but really kind of take that inspiration, create a character. I love to think about it like that, like a costume designer, and think about, you know, what would this character wear to go grocery shopping? What would this character wear to go sit in the bleachers? So I just think this is a really fun way to approach the different seasons. And so we're gonna dive into my 4 fall characters. As I dive into each character, I'm gonna show either runway images or even kind of archived images that are inspiring this character. Definitely very much what happened on the runways for fall 25, but also some reference images that even inspired those runway looks. And I will say some of these characters feel a little bit like the sister or the aunt of other characters, because I do think fashion continues to carry throughout the different seasons for a while. So we're in some of the same places, but maybe a different take on the character, or like I said, maybe a sister or an aunt of the character. So the very first one is the Balmoral Bell. This is peak English countryside, and in particular, inspiration of Queen Elizabeth at Balmoral. This is very inspired by equestrian ideas, what you might wear out riding a horse in the British countryside. So we're gonna see a lot of pieces very inspired by grabbing a horse and jumping on. So in particular, you're gonna see the classic jodhpurs, you're gonna see tweed, a lot of knee-high boots, herringbone, a lot of really classic shapes, kind of nipped in tailored jackets with tailored pants, knee-high boots, very Ralph Lauren. Also some key pieces will be barn jackets and plaid, and anything plaid. I also love the idea of accessorizing with something that mimics a riding cap. So it could be a very traditional riding cap, but it also could be something that feels similar to a riding cap, but maybe a little bit more wearable in the everyday. Also just classic ties, maybe cinched in with a blazer and jodhpurs and knee-high boots. Also, I love the headscarf, and in particular, the headscarf wrapped around the chin for that very Queen Elizabeth in the countryside look. We're also going to see a lot of waist belts, either skinny waist belts cinching in blazers, or just more of a classic statement belt over a blouse with a skirt, something really classic like that. And also Fair Isle knits and just classic button downs. So I really like to just think of the Balmoral Bell as this person out in the fields on the horse, very classic, very countryside, but with a chic, elevated look to it. And I really feel like this can be translated into our everyday clothes. It doesn't have to be that you're gonna grab a horse and get on it, but just that really great British countryside look, elevated and out for the day. The next character is the dark romantic, and really thinking of a 1800s poet. That is our inspiration, but a little bit dark, stormy, and moody. So we're gonna see a lot of that 1800s romantic style dressing men and women, and incorporating that into our everyday. Key pieces within this inspiration are collar, collar, collar. So big white collars, ruffle collars, clown collars, ties around the neck, just that very romantic poet in mind, using a collar to accentuate that. Also, a lot of black and white pairing, which I absolutely love, and I really think black and white is so fun to play with going into fall, as well as a lot of ruffles and lace. Think dark, moody, romantic. We're gonna see bows and drapey fabrics. I love also the exaggerated polka dots with this, so it's kind of touching almost on this like dark, moody, romantic clown inspiration as well. And some really long coats and tall black boots. Think velvet coats, or those coats that men would wear kind of going out for the evening. I always love embracing kind of this romantic, theatrical type of character, especially in the fall. And so I am so excited to dive into exploring and playing around with this character. The next character is the nomadic spirit. And this is definitely embracing some of the bohemian dressing and a lot of inspiration from what we saw on Chloe. But I also love to use some other references with a little bit different take on bohemian. And that's why I named it the nomadic spirit. So I'm thinking of this very traveled person who has gone all over the globe and uses that as influence for getting dressed. So we're gonna see a lot of flowing blouses, maxi skirts, lots of flowing and movement. I love the knits and jackets layered over maxi skirts. That is a really fun play on this character. As well as just really rich embroidered jackets. Low slung belts, so none of those high-waisted, but that low slung, easy breezy belt. Definitely a lot of layering with necklaces, especially pendant necklaces, and doing a few of those together, stacking them together. I love the idea of velvet being in play here with the nomadic spirit. A lot of layered pieces, statement wide belts, an earthy color palette, and then just some flat shoes. I also really loved the idea of a lot of what we saw on Dries Van Noten for this inspiration. To me, this feels like the person who's traveled and lives a fabulous life, a little more elevated, a little more luxurious fabrics. I love the tassels in this that is used on belts and even on a jacket, I think. So I just love the inspiration of that for the nomadic spirit as well. So this is such a fun character to dress up this fall and really just embrace that traveled nomadic spirit. And then my last character, just like a few seasons ago, I think it was last season actually, I had the Moschino icon. This season I have to do the Valentino icon. I just feel like the whole runway show of Valentino is always so inspiring to me. Really just Alessandro Michele from Gucci over to Valentino has done an amazing job just bringing his magic into the Valentino world. And so taking a lot of inspiration from this runway show and just embracing the Valentino icon. There's a lot of inspiration on this runway show from the 70s, especially the jet set 70s, I think of Bianca Jagger, but a little bit more of the eccentric version of that instead of just super polished. There's something a little bit odd or eccentric in all of these looks. There's a lot of suits, there's statement coats, there's fur collars put on pieces, some lace detailing, either like a lace turtleneck underneath or lace popping out. I love the shell necklaces. To me, the juxtaposition of putting this interesting shell necklace over this very 70s look is just so unique and fabulous, and I love the whole idea of that. There's big fur jackets, so playing with some of the faux furs from the 70s, pattern mixing, some turtleneck layering, also gloves are in the mix, and some interesting fur color. So we're just really gonna embrace the eccentric world of Valentino this fall, and I cannot wait to play with this as inspiration and really just rock this like eccentric 1970s Valentino. So those are the 4 characters that I'm going to be dressing up this fall and being inspired by. I have mood boards put together of all these characters, so if you are subscribed to my Substack, you can get this in your email. Next week, you'll get all the mood boards and the inspiration. I'll also put links down below if you want to subscribe to my Substack to get all of that information. I'll also put a link down below of the Pinterest board so you can really go and dive into each character and kind of take that inspiration for yourself this fall and kind of pick the pieces that you want to play with as well. And to me, this is just a really fun way to embrace a new season and get out of that kind of like post-summer rut. At least I get into that where I'm like, oh, what am I wearing? So to kind of be rejuvenated with these characters just makes it so much fun to go into the closet. And there's gonna be more videos coming out over the next few weeks just about these characters. We're gonna go thrift them. We're gonna play dress up with them. We're just gonna have a lot of fun with the characters. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel. I have new videos every single Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And finally, always play dress up. Bye.